Hi there, my name is Kay Moon and I'm a twin soul channel and Western astrologer. And this is a video about the new moon in Leo occurring on August 8th, 2021 at 9:41 a.m. Eastern Time if you happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States. Please check a time zone converter for your local time. I just wanted to do one piece of housekeeping before we dive into the really rich and fertile energy of this new moon in Leo. I wanted to say thank you to everyone who's enrolled in Q&A with Kay so far. It is so exciting to know that I get to spend time with you in Sacred Circle to look at the divine mirrors of twin soul connections and the way they also show up in the world of light work. We had a Wednesday group that completely sold out within, I think, 72 hours of launch. And I opened a Friday group up that is now available for enrollment. But if you want to join, definitely act fast. There are only, I think, about 16 spots left at the time of this recording. And I would love for you to have one of them if you are called to join the private group mentorship with me. You can find links to join Q&A with Kay just below this video. Let's dive into this juicy energy of the new moon in Leo. This new moon occurs in what traditionally we astrologically would call a Lionsgate portal. The Lionsgate portal happens once a year. And a brief overview of it is that it was a season or a period of time celebrated by the ancient Egyptians where the sun, the star Sirius, and the earth would get into a very specific astrological alignment that would signal the flooding of the Nile and bringing in fertility energy to the crops so that the crops would get watered and therefore create new harvest energy. It's a wonderfully magical time for setting intentions and embarking on new endeavors. And that is only further echoed by the fact that the sun and the moon are sitting here in the most creative sign of the zodiac, and that is Leo, the sign of creation. It is a sign of creativity, creative works, and corresponds with the fifth house. This new moon in Leo on August 8th is rich with potential, as I mentioned in the last lunation, that we have moved into a period of time of potentiated state where there is a feeling, a sense within all of us that there's so much to come. There's like a charge, a magnetic charge in the air, and it's anyone's guess which way things are going to go. Those who are masterful will really use this period of time to step into their creatorship, to conduct their energy and the world around them so that they can better create that the outcomes which they will wish to receive. What's very interesting about this new moon in Leo are some of the aspects that it's making that give it, interestingly enough, a very scorpionic feel. Scorpio is another one of the fixed signs. We have the three modalities: cardinal, fixed, and mutable. Cardinal represents the energy of beginning. Fixed represents the energy of stabilizing, and mutable represents the energy of transformation and change. With fixed energy being at a peak during this particular new moon, you can see there are 8 planetary placements in the fixed signs. We have a lot of tension going on as the air builds with charge around change. Yet fixed energy is working to hold on to its stability, to its status quo. So let's dig in to some of these particular energies. And if you're curious about more regarding the Lionsgate, I did do a video a couple of years ago on what the energy of the Lionsgate portal represents. with Sylvia Escalante of Enchanted World of Twin Flame. So I'll link that below. Shout out to Sylvia. I'll just link that below so that you guys can find access to that information if you're curious about how to use this energy and what it represents and the history of the Lionsgate. All right, so let's dive in. This particular new moon is opposite the planet of Saturn. Here we go. Opposite Saturn, and we have a square to Uranus. Uranus and Saturn have been in T-square this entire year, or not T-square, but in 90-degree angle in hard square this entire year. When we have two planets at a hard angle to one another, two things can be true at the same time. Both of their shadow energies can come forward. However, they can also both lend themselves to a pinch or a tension that facilitates motivation to change. And this has never been more true than with Uranus, the planet of change, quantum leap forward, technology, insights, lightning quick transformation, being in conversation with Saturn, the planet that governs our borders and our boundaries, and the planet that facilitates integrity and wholeness. Because Uranus is the outer planet, it has a bit more of influence, a bit more sway on what Saturn is doing. Uranus wants to create change to Saturn's borders, Saturn's boundaries, Saturn's stability, Saturn's discipline, integrity, and wholeness, and make sure that whatever we have hanging out in the world of those themes is moving to a quantum leap higher level than what we've previously had. So this is a year where for many people, you may find a lot of your boundaries shift, a lot of your thoughts and ideas about your place in the world shift. Aquarius really governs the ways in which we service the world. And this is also a period of time, this particular year, where what we consider and define as what makes us whole also shifts. Many of us have learned a lot from the downlock, I'll put it that way, the pandemic, I'll put it that way, and where we've been and where we are going. And because of these internal shifts in 2020 and 2021, we are now moving into a world of external shifts that get our external world to align with what's transformed inside us internally in the preceding year. So now we have this new moon in Leo locking into place, facilitating a bit of what we as astrologers would call a T-square. It is when there's a planet in 3 of the modes and there is an exclusion of one of the modes. The mode that's excluded is Scorpio. There's no planetary activity in the sign of Scorpio at this time, but that's the key. That's our solution to unraveling the tension of this new moon in Leo. Because of the placements here, what we need to do is activate our own Scorpionic energy to bring to close. Scorpio is about endings, completion, alchemy, change, transformation, to bring to completion all the things that no longer serve us. So let's get into some of the detail around this. We have a situation here where, because of the way that Saturn is opposing both the moon and the sun, or the sun and the moon are opposing Saturn, a lot of our relationships are going to be tested at this time in terms of boundaries, accountability, integrity, personal responsibility. There can be a real sense of needing to and being called to show up, not just for others, but also for ourselves at this time. There's also a sense of real pessimism, a pessimistic outlook now. Many people may feel very solo. It could be a very deep time for reflection. There could also be just a little bit with Saturn in retrograde there, just a little bit of kind of feeling sorry for ourselves, given the way things have worked out, a little bit of glass half empty energy. We could be dealing with a lot of energy of our own shame, things that have happened to us or things that we have done that have made us feel ashamed in the past. But this isn't a bad thing, especially with Uranus here saying, change, change. No, really, you have to change. With Uranus in the mix, having all of this kind of Saturnian restriction, demanding that we re-examine how we have shown up and show up better, this gives us an opportunity to start the process or continue the process of being a better version of ourselves to ourselves and to other people, and to be taking a very different approach to the ways that we serve and the ways that we lead. And for many of us, this is also going to have a lot to do with money. Uranus sitting in Taurus governs the big changes to the way our finances work on planet Earth. And so many may be getting or receiving messages at this time that it is a significant period of time to do a different thing with money. Some of you may be called to invest. That is Scorpionic energy. Scorpio deals with other people's money. So taxes, loans, grants, lottery, inheritances. Scorpio also deals with making money through investments. So you may find that this is a period of time where you are feeling very called to invest in yourself or invest in something. And that know that in the fullness of time, if you are taking care to shift the way your boundaries work to better represent who you are and your wholeness and your integrity, these are investments that made at this time will definitely play out in the fullness of time. It can be a little crazy with Uranus in the mix, not going to lie. Uranus does bring surprises, can be a bit of a tumultuous ride, but if your life is calling for you to take time to do that at this time, make investments, then I would honor that if it's coming forward for you. Using Scorpionic energy is the way to release the tension of this T-square here. It's a loose T-square, but it's a T-square nonetheless. We also have, with Uranus in square to this new moon, a lot of restlessness, a lot of instability. There's a real tendency to ease the discomfort of feeling trapped, of feeling locked into some of our routines, and a sensation of feeling really gripped by maybe feeling backed into a corner here. There could be a real tendency to ease that discomfort by being impulsive, lashing out, wanting change for change's sake, moving a little bit too quickly. There can be a tendency to create one's own excitement if we're bored, just to, because we need to shift something. That would be, how can I say this kindly? That would be a way of utilizing this energy very unconsciously. Those who are really conscious and working in their mastery as creators will take a good look around their life and see, okay, where do I need to change up my boundaries? Where am I locked into a routine that's no longer serving me? And what things do I need to put a Scorpio ending, death to? What things do I need to put an end to so that I am able to operate in a higher level of service, a higher level of leadership? And so in the Twin Soul update, I'm going to talk a bit specifically about overgiving, because there's a theme here around that for those who are divine counterparts around overgiving and letting people overtake. but specifically in the world of light worker energy updates and reading the planets as they are, not as divine counterparts. This is just a clarion call for everyone to pay more attention to where we've been stuck, because we really may reach a breaking point right around this time and recognize that we can't go on as is in certain areas of our life. There is this year a real destabilization of a lot of the structures that no longer serve our highest good. A lot of the ways we may have been working, may have been dealing with school, may have been dealing with our daily routines, may have been dealing with food or health or friends or family, pick an area of life. There may be a signal that there are things that just are not working anymore. And as a result, things have to change. The thing to remember about change is that it doesn't happen if we're holding on to what was, trying to cultivate what can be. We have to let go of the hand of the past in order to take up the hand of the future. There can also, with Uranus squaring the sun and Saturn opposing the sun moon, at this period of time, there can be quite a bit of ego conflicts as well, a little bit of pettiness, especially with Jupiter opposite Mercury, a little bit of gossipy energy, and carelessly doing it in such a way that in the back of your mind, like, this could get back to this person. So just be mindful of utilizing this energy thoughtlessly, and recklessly, because in that kind of recklessness and thoughtlessness, you can really, there's a potential to damage things that we mean to preserve, and preserve things like bad habits that we actually mean to break at this time, simply because we're not being thoughtful in our creatorship with how to utilize this energy, and instead just kind of being mindless about it. That there's a real potential to do some damage with this energy if we're not being careful. So, okay. All of that to say is that this fertile time gets even more fertile when we put an end to behaviors, thoughts, and actions and words that just are no longer serving who we're meant to become, or us operating in our highest selves. And so that call to put an end to those things is particularly strong. The tension is particularly high. The charge in our life, and by charge, I mean kind of like electricity and static around making that happen, it's getting more and more intense as we ramp up to this new moon in Leo. And the opportunity is big. This is a big time to step into greater creatorship and greater mastery, and to fertilize our dreams, fertilize the things that we want to be able to create. And that's what makes this period of time so exciting. It can make it, this time of year, feel like quite a bit of a rush as new opportunities come in, but the only way to really take advantage of them is to be willing to say no to things that have blocked our ability to manifest them in the past. So be paying attention to your patterns here. During this time period, we also have a conversation here with Chiron with this new moon. In addition to this conversation with Chiron, there's we could say that Mercury is sort of in the mix here, but it's a little less in the mix. So I'm not going to project it into the mix. It would be a bit of an overreach, but the Chiron situation, talking to this particular new moon in fire, Chiron being in Aries, new moon being in Leo, this is giving us a big opportunity to deal with some of our issues in the world of shadow and do some shadow work. Also, this Chiron is talking here with Saturn. And so Saturn was also talking with the moon in opposition. this is definitely a period of time where internally we all may feel just a little bit triggered. And there's, because Chiron's retrograde, and new moon is in Leo. It's not a full moon, it's a new moon, which is a dark moon. We may feel triggered and not even know that we're triggered. And this is what can really cause some of that lashing out behavior, impulsive behavior that damages what we mean, what we need to let go of, or damages what we mean to preserve, and ends up preserving that which we actually really ought to let go of, which is probably certain bad habits when we feel triggered. This Chiron energy here is really revealing to us places where we feel a deep sense of internal wounding, shame, guilt, a deep sense of internal loss or lack, not enoughness, and potentially even a sense of feeling like we got shortchanged by life in certain areas pertaining to that which we would like to manifest. So if you recognize this in your conscious brain, but don't necessarily feel it in your lived emotional experience, just keep in mind that that energy of feeling compromised or lack or shame or guilt or loss or not enoughness may actually be behind sneakily in behind some of your behaviors at this time. And it's a very good idea, if you're witnessing yourself behaving in ways that you don't really understand, or you're feeling a weird funky kind of vibe or mood, or you're just feeling the need to take some time out, this is a really good time to start asking yourself, what are the wounds here? And what is life presenting to me as my shadow work that I need to, take in, integrate, give myself the opportunity to fully and masterfully embrace at this time? If you're really not sure about that, I think a lot of the divine mirrors work that we're doing inside of Q&A with Kay over the next 5 weeks will deeply help you understand this for yourself. And this is a perfect time for it as well, because Chiron and Saturn are going to be in conversation for a while. And so this sense and sensitivity of our own woundedness, held backness, our own sense of not enoughness, this is going to be in our face through the end of the year. And what the Q&A with Kay course will give you the opportunity to have a look at is, where did it come from? What is it teaching me? And how can I integrate the lesson so that I can operate in mastery with this, instead of letting this manipulate me from my unconscious and from my shadow? So the link for that is below. But if you're not really called to that, if you're more of a one-on-one kind of person, listen, I get it. We can unpack a lot of this inside of a 30-minute personal reading one-on-one. And that will give you a lot of the insight that you need around this energy so that you can be more masterful with it over the course of the next 4 months. Links to do personal readings are below as well. You can find them over at kmoonastro.com. I would love to read for you if you're called to do that. Okay. So, other energies going on at this new moon. Let's have a look. We've got some fun stuff going on with Venus and Neptune. And by fun, I am really being sarcastic. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. We've got some interesting stuff going on with Pluto as well, talking to Venus. And this combination is really we're going to need to really be mindful of it, because it can do some damage in the world of our relationships and in the world of our money if we are not careful. So I'm going to talk about that in a moment. I'm also going to talk about the energy here with Ceres and Lilith conjunct, having a conversation with Jupiter and Mars, because this energy as well is there's an energy of some people around us being willing to play lose lose. Like, I'm going to take you down, and because I have to go down. If I have to feel pain, you have to feel pain. There's some lose lose energy going on here, and I want to make sure to address it right after. Let's just check and see if YouTube would like to show a brief commercial. Thanks so much for hanging tight. All right, so let's dig into this things going on with Venus. So the first thing is Venus opposite Neptune. Neptune's hanging out in the 22nd degree of Pisces. Venus is at the 20th degree of Virgo. That particular opposition doesn't necessarily bode well for relationships at this time. There could be a sense of relationship intensity that's specifically brought on by absence or distance or loss or spiritual expansion of spiritual depth between two people that simultaneously, because of the Plutonian influence here, can bring out quite a bit more of Neptune's shadow energy. So instead of necessarily bringing forward the energy of, hey, let's just transmute all this pain into spiritual enlightenment and ponder the meaning of love in our lives, it can go direct to sadness, loss, destruction, dissolution, and just straight up keeping secrets, sneaking around, doing things behind people's back. So I don't love that. I don't love that at all. But I do know that every transit and every energy that comes forward does have the potential to bring us greater awareness, greater love, and the opportunity to walk in greater light. And so, with that kind of energy, if you're noticing shadow side energy coming forward in the world of love and relationships for you, several things could be true. If this is you yourself operating in that energy, this could really be the clarion call, as I spoke about earlier, about things that need to shift in the world of your patterning. If you're prone to awfulizing and catastrophizing and the moody blues and feeling very lonely, when people are right there available, if you would just reach out, this could be the pattern that needs to end that we were talking about earlier, at the peak, in the way this new moon energy is playing out. The opposite could also be true. You could be the kind of person who self-medicates with other people's company, specifically with this kind of energy sexually. If you find yourself in a place of feeling absence or just tense, like the way of breaking the tension for you could be self-medicating through sex or intimacy with other people, that could really cause some problems in the coming weeks and months as we get into the Venus retrograde, as Mars gets into its particular square with Pluto later on during the year and opposes Neptune in a few weeks' time. This again, if you're recognizing this being you, this particular new moon in Leo could be the moment that's like, do a different thing, make a different choice, come at dealing with your pain in a different way, or your loneliness or your loss or your triggers. Come at dealing with them in a different way. Figure out what's at the root of it so that you can transcend and transmute it. So that's some of that. Because Venus in mundane astrology really represents love, she also represents money. There could also be a sense here, and this is where the inverse of what we were talking about earlier around investments could be true. There could be a bit of a hole in your bank account at this point in time. There could be a little propensity to overspending, overdoing it financially, overreaching financially, and a real desire to put money into places that, I mean, I hate to say it this way with the Pluto energy there, but that almost like put a band-aid on some of our pain rather than directly deal with it, to kind of like pretty up pretty up the outside without doing anything on the inside. There can be a real issue around some of that as well. So, um, be mindful financially, like don't overreach if you're not in a position to. If you're not in a position to make certain investments, trust it. If the money is not there, there's a reason it's not there for you at this time. It will be there at a time in the future when perhaps the investment is more aligned to the things going on in your life and the things you need to do at that time. Okay, so that's this Venus, Neptune, Pluto thing, which I don't like. Like I said, I don't like it one bit. But it's always, every energy serves a purpose. This one is revealing to us some of the ways we operate our own shadow Venusian energies. We can bring forward more of the shadow side of Venus. So, okay. Then in finality, we have this really funny energy here. Yeah, so Ceres and Lilith conjunct in a square over here to Jupiter. And then we also have Ceres and Lilith conjunct in a square over here to Mars. This pretty much creates a mutable T-square. But we actually have it, you could loosely call it a grand cross, not really, with Juno sitting here, but it's more of a T-square. What I like about this energy is the fact that if you look at it in just the T-square, we do get the opportunity to lean into Sagittarian truth, Sagittarian freedom, Sagittarian higher ideals, Sagittarian philosophy, Sagittarian faith. And because we have this tension in the mutable signs, the signs where we're supposed to be able to bend and flex, but we can kind of feel a little bit disjointed, like pulled in too many different directions at one time. This is really forcing us to lean into Sagittarian energy around several things. Number one, Sagittarian energy gives us the opportunity to assume good intent with other people, assume highest intention. Like when we're looking at them and we don't really get like why they're doing what they're doing or what they're doing and what's going on, this is an opportunity to go, we could go one of two ways with this energy. We could go the way of all the catastrophizing, all the triggering, all of the meaning making and storytelling that then just keeps us locked into all of our bad mental loops that drown our light. Or we could lean into the Sagittarian energy and we could go, okay, yeah, I really feel like I'm triggered by what they're doing, but it might not have anything to do with me. Maybe there's something else going on with them. Let me either ask for more information or give some space while I work on my triggers and then come back to this with them at a later date. Ceres Lilith here at the apex of this particular T-square bring forward an energy of slicing and cutting and kind of slamming the door and cutting our nose off to spite our face in the world of Gemini dealings. This has to do with a lot of our soul group, friends, cousins, and neighbors as well, sisters and brothers. And then with the square to Jupiter, this is just expanding this kind of willingness to just cut and run. Mars as well is just expanding. It's like adding a bit of a motor to it. It's like, oh, track shoes on, take off, top speed, ready, set, go. It is definitely a running energy, but it's a running energy that on the way out, it's like, let me just throw you a verbal bomb and then disappear. Let me call you out on all your stuff. It's that kind of like pettiness. It's a petty energy instead of being like a building energy. And it comes out of a lot of the triggering energy that's also going on during this particular new moon. It's an unwillingness to work things out and a deep kind of compulsion to be right, almost, I would say, with some of this energy. It's not serving. It's not serving at all. And so the way out of this is to lean into the Sagittarian energy. Sagittarius lifts us to our higher ideals. Sagittarius lifts us to deeper thinking. It lifts us to personal accountability for those higher ideals and loftier thinking, aiming towards the big picture, not just wanting to, cut and run because the current situation is uncomfortable. Sagittarian energy gives us that opportunity to lean into our best selves and lean on our higher angels. And so that's the invitation here. But, if you see anyone getting a little testy, now you know why. And yeah, the Mercury energy, like I said, doesn't really help opposite Jupiter there. It just, with this square to Ceres and Lilith, like I said, there could just be a lot of gossip, like backbitey, backstabby kind of energy in the air at this time, which, like I said, could really leave you in a very compromised place in the weeks to come if if it's just not serving at this time. When does gossip ever serve? But you get the idea. This could come out and really damage some things in the weeks and months to come. All right. So that's what I got. If you're interested in signing up with Q&A with Kay, signing up for Q&A with Kay, the Friday group begins on Friday, August 13th at 1 p.m. Eastern. I know that tends to work a lot better for people who are in Europe, in Saudi, in Africa, and throughout those regions, the EMEA regions. So if that's you and you want to make time to join the live group and not just get the recordings, then by all means, there are 16 spots left. I would love for you to have one of them. And if that just doesn't resonate, you're more of a one-on-one kind of person, then by all means, the August calendar is open and you are more than welcome to book a personal reading. Thank you so much for all of the watches, likes, subscribes, and shares. It is an honor to do this with you every new and full moon, and I will be back soon. Take great care and bye for now.